You're listening to The People's Pitch, the official podcast of Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by FootballStadiumPrints.com. Let's start the show.
And as I talked about just a couple minutes ago, as Joe Watt stands over this one, he appears to be the one taking the penalty here. This is a huge confidence booster if you're a Duluth.
Worst case scenario for City right here.
And it stopped! Yes! And it stopped!
Totally redeems himself.
Matt Elder redeeming himself. Oliver with the right foot. The shot of the goal!
Oliver!
Justin Oliver will break the scoreless tie. And it is 1-0 Minneapolis City. Is Hutton now on the offense with the left foot. And it is now 2-0 Minneapolis City.
Good finish.
Nick Hutton taking his quick victory lap.
We are turned up to 11. Nope, we are turned up to 11-11. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City SC2 playoff-bound teams, John. And it feels like this is the week where all the action is happening. It is like in preparation for this weekend, whether it's hosting 3 games. We've got another game halfway across the country. Minneapolis City is in full effect this week at the highest level, and I couldn't be more hyped, and I am having constant panic attacks. How about you?
I mean, honestly, this is the time of the year where I have like conversations with my wife, and I'm like, oh, so I have to be gone for like either I have to go to Cleveland on Friday or I have to be gone in Minneapolis on Friday and Sunday. So, and I have to know right now. So, it's a lot of weird preparation time. It's exciting. It could also mean that there's no soccer tomorrow if we don't perform. I mean, this is what you get up for, right? I mean, we can win all the NPSL North conferences in the world, but unless you're doing something in the playoffs, do people really care? So, I don't know, man. We got a really packed show today. We'll talk a little bit about that MC2 playoff win that had everything. It literally had everything. Quite the nail biter. We'll talk NPSL playoffs because they have begun. We've got news of the play-in games that happened this week and what that means for us and for this weekend. And City is riding, on that first round bye, and we're ready to host the regional playoffs. We'll have the details on game schedules and expert analysis of the out-of-town participants brought to you by the one, the only Fletcher Sharp. Fletcher Notre Damus on the pod out of Detroit. Yeah, out of Detroit. So always a great interview. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear him drop his hot takes.
Yeah, man. So end of the season, last regular season game that we were in the booth together, John, it was a roller coaster ride. Joy Athletic hung on to beat Minneapolis City. Could we have ever expected to get right back in line and get ride number 2 in the UPSL playoff? Like, this game was nuts. There were highs, there were lows, there were comebacks, there were great shots, there were amazing saves, there were dogs and people storming the field. There were, it was like Stefan could not have explained this game any better. I am excited to dive into this one. Let us talk about MC2's victory at home in the UPSL Sweet 16.
Who knew that me yelling "there's a dog on the field" would have potentially trended on soccer Twitter for like 48 hours? I call it like I see it, Nate. But man, you're right. This game,
it definitely was a dog.
There was a dog on the field. I don't think I've ever done anything in my life that more than 7,000 people have looked at. So awesome. That's great. Put that one on my resume. But yeah, you're right. This game had everything, including the broadcast debut of City midfielder Dom Mesjin, who I think did a fantastic job as soon as the nerves wore off. I think when he first entered that booth, he was all 6s and 7s. And then he calmed down and settled himself in. But as far as the match, we actually have to talk about that, not just dogs on the field. The Iowa Raptors came into town after disposing of Detroit United by a scoreline of 2-0 in their first playoff match. And hats off to them. They brought some traveling support, and I love that. I mean,
that was good.
Yeah, even if it's like 5 people that are wearing the jerseys and getting up for the game. It just brings more to the table. And we like to be gracious hosts, so hopefully if anyone from Iowa was listening, then they had a good time. But Iowa was an interesting team for me, man. They had almost this like indescribable style that was this fluid 4-4-2 diamond midfield that just always kept City guessing. And then they switched to like a 3-back at times. They put one center back up top for a while. Then they pulled him back. They put the other one up there. They'd overload their midfield to the left side for a little while, just constantly trying to find different avenues in. And it was just interesting to watch. Also, like the razzle dazzle on the set pieces was very indoor soccer.
Yeah.
So, where you look over here, but the ball's going over there. Just
the Sandman.
Yeah, running the Sandman. Yeah. The Florida Tropics, who are also in the UPSL playoffs, which is awesome. But anyways, yeah, it was just an interesting team, and to not only watch but to call that game was very interesting. For City, the starters and what we're calling this week the Coach Liban 3-5-2, as Coach Prunty was away on some travel. The starters were Troy Luegi in goal, Ethan Anderson, Logan Huber, and Will Orser across the back line, Scotty Heinen anchoring the midfield with McRae, Drong, and Abai Habat, and then your guy, the Mean Streets, and Luke Lindsay as the wingbacks, and then up top, the new dynamic duo, Cole Schwartz and Jacek Mikowski.
He likes that. I think he thought that Mean Streets thing was pretty funny.
I think so too.
Mustache mover.
Yeah, he's got an interesting mustache. And then off the bench was Adnan Gild, Abdi Kadi, Stephen Wright, Adam King, Nick Sikowski, Zach Susi, letting the Susi Lucy finally, Archie Jerdrum, and Big Ben Schliemann. So, like we thought, the Raptors came out on the front foot. Heavy bounce of possession, like we talked about, shifting different things around, and City was really unable to get the ball, and which we've kind of seen that in the past few games, Nate, where like this team, like once they get the ball and they start to get into what they do, really fun to watch, specifically in this formation they're playing, with the style of play that the coaching staff has them playing, but not able to get it early in a game, which is the second playoff game in a row where that happened. And as Iowa turned up the pressure with some real good early opportunities that had some substance, all of them were thwarted by Big Troy Luegi in goal. And on the other side of the ball, City was starting to find out that balls over the top to Cole and to Jacek were not going to be what to do on that day, due to like the 6-foot+ tall twin towers that were Petrovic and Howell in the back line for Iowa. Yeah. So as City kind of started to find the ball, few threatening chances of their own, in the 13th minute off of a quick restart on a set piece, Iowa forward Constant, I forget what his first name was, but his last name was Constant, found the ball bouncing in the 18-yard box and slotted home the first goal for the visitors to take the early lead. And at this point, Nate, you could kind of tell that woke up the Rookery, and it was like, all right, game on. But unfortunately, it was the wake-up call at the cost of getting one up in the score sheet.
Yeah, a little late, I guess. Slow start, as patented City slow start. But also, John, you mentioned it. Huge guys in the back. Even when you went wide, Jonah Dancer is a sizable dude. Their midfield looked pretty big. And that was the worry from the get-go, is that City was not going to be able to play their game. City was getting bossed off the ball, and it reminded me a lot of that first game against Inter Minneapolis, when we were just outsized, and it started to get a little worrisome. And I would say, couple that with the fact that Troy Luegi had probably not been. I'm sure he's been practicing with these guys, but this is not the squad that he plays with on a week in, week out basis, right? So there are going to be communication issues. There's going to be trust issues. You could tell that he was a little timid when it came to coming out, because he wasn't sure if he would have support. He wasn't sure if the guys would kind of recognize that he was coming out. So a lot of growing pains as Minneapolis City 2 moved through the first half of this game.
Well, the unfazed youth, which would be the theme of the day, saw a hungry City side start to create a little bit more chances. I think they found the possession. Some fantastic work. I thought maybe his best game of the year. McCray Trong, really good work on the ball. He found a streaking Cole Schwartz at the top of the 6-yard box. Midway through the half, but a really great late challenge by Raptors center back Howell. Saw his attempt get pushed over the bar. And as the teams kind of traded punches, I thought then Troy kind of settled in and was equal to the task. I mean, he made some fantastic saves. And in the dying moments of the first frame, Captain Abai Habat found the man of the second half of the season, Jacek Nikowski, with a nice 1-2 in the penalty area, and he was taken down. Captain Habai grabbed the ball, set up to the spot, drilled home the penalty kick, 1-1. Absolutely worst case scenario in the 44th minute for Iowa to go into the break.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at any point, Minneapolis City was that threatening in the first half.
There was a couple chances, but that was really the only one that even if he didn't get taken down, I think he would have probably scored, or that 1-2 would have been completed and Abai might have scored. But yeah, really not a ton.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, ooh, dude, like if without that's like you said, that's worst case scenario. Like that's the goal that's letting a team into the game that really didn't have a lot of paths to victory going into that first half. And now all of a sudden it's a brand new game as the second half begins and Minneapolis City has some belief.
Yeah, well, and it's like the NPSL team wearing some teams down when maybe it's not your day, but then all of a sudden figuring it out, and then 3 goals happen.
Yeah.
3 goals didn't happen. Spoiler alert. But the second half started, and shortly after, some very smart substitutions, I think, started to happen from Coach Liban. And I think that each of the substitutions that he made paid off individually as the new man came into the fray. I think that what Liban did was that through some of those systematic substitutions, when Iowa was kind of frantically taking guys off and putting new guys on, I think what it did was it kind of killed the Raptors bench and then the players that are on the field when the subs ran out pretty early in the second half. And I think they took off what I thought was some very dynamic players. They took off Pacheco, they took off Sasaki, like danger men in the first half. Took them off for players that contributed, but then easily tired in that second half. So it was kind of like you swap one out because he's tired, and then that guy's tank empties right away. But essentially, as people got tired, the freshness from City started to take over. And in the 86th minute, your guy, Nate, Zach Susi, the Susi Lucy, who'd been away from the team for a little bit of a spell playing with his youth club team, because remember he just graduated high school.
Yeah, he's been with Salvo for a good chunk of the summer doing good stuff.
He was also at the high school All-American game out in North Carolina, so he had some commitments. But I thought that from the moment he entered, he was that critical sub. The other subs that came on, I thought Stephen Wright was a fantastic sub to come on in the center of the midfield. I thought he did a really, really good job of offering a little bit of something different than what McCray Trong was doing that was actually needed more than all the good things that McCray was doing in the first half. Nick Sikowski coming on as the wingback. I thought he put in a really great shift. But I think Zach's entry was the spark that this team needed to get on the front foot for really the first time in the game instead of playing catch up after they got a gut punch. So Zach eventually came on and scored in the 86th minute. And pretty much from that point on, it was an identical goal to, I think, what was scored in the first half for Iowa, kind of something bouncing around. And he just kind of finds ways to score goals is what he does. Slotted one home. And at that point it's now 2-2. And I know I realize I just blew past the fact that in the 84th minute, Iowa did score their second goal.
Yeah, so, that was the thing. Is like, that was the sinking feeling. Goal scored the 84th minute after we're sticking with it and competing much better in the second half. But it
and
just takes
having more of the chances.
exactly, and it just takes the wind out of your sails, right? Like here we go, only 6 minutes left, and Minneapolis City already made a majority of their subs except for Susie, and here he comes. And that kid, from the moment his toe touched the turf, dude, you could tell he was just buzzing. And
Yeah.
that was exactly what happened in the box. Ball gets played back to him after a little bit of chaos on a quarter kick, and he's ready for it. And the buzzing doesn't stop, man. He was so fired up. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Well, the thing about Zach is like that goal doesn't happen if he doesn't have the wherewithal to peel off of the guy who's guarding him, while the guy who's guarding him is paying attention to the header that's coming across the box from Stephen Wright. So like just those little smart things he does to create those half-yard, 2-yard scenarios for him to be able to anticipate where a ball might go. It's really incredible that he has that understanding at his age. We're happy to have him. So anyways, he equalizes in the 86th minute, two minutes literally after what Iowa thought was the final blow, as they were really out of gas. Then overtime starts. And I mean, I can really just sum up overtime, both of the periods, as a bunch of tired, mentally affected chances for both teams that could not find the right pass, took an extra touch that then got stripped, really didn't find the open man. And it wasn't Iowa or Minneapolis City. It was both teams. More so, I believe, though, Iowa, because they were truly out of gas. So I was thinking as the game was going on, like, do these guys even have enough in the tank to go into penalties and be confident to hit their shots? But anyways, as the second extra time, free soccer, we call it, was ending, I was thinking like, okay, this is definitely going to go to penalties. But just before the second period of overtime ended, the last substitution on the bench that Coach Lebon can make came in what I've since found out was a predetermined swap, as Troy Luegi, who put in a monster game keeping Minneapolis City in that match and in the conversation for 118 minutes, gave way to another high school player, Big Ben Schliemann from the Futures program, enters the fray as the goalkeeper substitute, coming on to potentially face penalties. Very Tim Kroll-like experience.
That's exactly what I was talking to Kyle Eliason about this. I'm like, I swear to God that they put Tim Kroll in the World Cup just to take the penalties. And he's like, oh, no, Kyle knows a lot about soccer, and so he had me second guessing, but they totally did against Costa Rica or something.
Yep, absolutely. So apparently leading up to the match, and actually leading up to just the playoffs in general, it was Schliemann, not Mitch or Troy, that was having a higher success rate keeping spot kicks out.
Yeah.
So his number was called, and man, was it the right call, Nate.
Dude, I'm going to tell you though, before, like you said, everyone seemed tired. Everyone seemed mentally worn, and on no one play was that more evident than it was right. It must have been right before Troy got subbed. I'd have to go back to the Twitter feed to check out the exact minute, but my heart just fell into my stomach, and my stomach just about fell out of my butthole. Like, dude, a brutal giveaway with Troy Luegi so far out of position that he had to sprint back to catch the guy, and it was Alan Kim. To catch this guy, Alan Kim from Iowa, that had such a jump on whatever pass was he intercepted. Troy was so far out, and Troy had to be thinking like, just don't get the red, just try to
do anything, just do anything.
And Alan Kim had an open net, like the most open net opportunity I have seen at that stadium, and he put it in the side netting, John.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll touch on that in a little bit here. But as we go into penalties, okay, so now we have a high school kid who entered the game as the one person who can change this game multiple times, being the goalkeeper. After letting the first two Raptors through, diving the wrong way, Ben chose the correct side and was able to eat up their third attempt to give City the 3-2 advantage. And at that point, the place just started to go crazy. Like up in the booth, you have the window open, but you kind of can't hear in the broadcast booth but for obvious reasons, we're going to kind of have it a little bit more quiet in there. But I could feel the energy from that save. Then Logan Huber steps up, made it 4-3 after the next round. And then the last attempt for the Raptors was left up to none other than forward Alan Kim, who, like you mentioned, moments before the half, had that opportunity to kill off the game and missed it wide. And as he was stepping up with that ball, I'm thinking to myself, this guy's going to miss. This guy's going to miss. Like, I thought he was going to miss the goal completely. Trying to do something like, wrestling mentally with the fact that he could have killed out the game. Mm-hmm. Now he's put his team in this precarious position, and now he's got to go through it. Again, being the last kick taker. So I was like, dude, this guy's going to miss. So with that low confidence and Ben Schlieman's confidence literally like beaming out of him from making that save, Kim decides to go to Ben's left, and waiting there for him was Ben Schliemann with an impressive kick save that saw the ball go through the football uprights, and the high schooler had done it, sending the Rookery into the final 8 of the UPSL national playoffs. And at this point, if you watch it back, every available player from the futures team to the first team to staff members, citizens, my kids were out there. And yes, a dog stormed the field and the celebration began.
Yeah. How wonderful. That was so fun. That was one of the greatest moments of Edor Nelson Field, the Edor Nelson Field experience we've ever had, I think.
And then we had Ben on in the Southside Barber Lounge call to the booth, and he's like, whatever, he's like, his demeanor, whatever, man, it was just fun, And then we asked him, like, have you ever been in a bigger penalty shootout? And he's like, I've never been in one before. We're like, what? This is your first ever penalty shootout, and this is what happens? Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah,
like,
you just can't, you're going to be chasing that dragon for the rest of his career.
Right, exactly. So then you dial it back, Nate. You have a guy who is a freshman in college, fresh off of his first season out of high school, draws the penalty to score our first goal. You have a high schooler come on, score the equalizer at the death, and you have another high schooler come on and score and stop 2 penalties in a penalty shootout. How awesome is it that all 3 of these guys are futures call-ups?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I touched on last week, right? Like, that super sucks that we lost to Joy. But I think the victory on the day, John, on that one was the showcase of the future of Minneapolis City and the future of soccer in Minneapolis. And just that, like, how amazing is it that we can give guys like Susie and Schliemann the opportunity to develop further and to just play the beautiful game, as they say, at a higher level. Mm-hmm. Continue. How cool is that? I just love it. So that was that exact thing on display. Wonderful to see.
The fun, safe, reliable environment for young people to play the beautiful game, I believe, is what the line is.
That's true. The close that nobody listens to.
Right. Well, hopefully you listen to the close now, because Nate did write the close for me. Like, I wrote the one for him last week. So I have not seen it. Can't wait to read it. But next up for the Rookery is the waiting arms of something called the New York Contour United.
You don't know. Contour is a real estate company on Long Island that sponsors this club.
Okay. Well, dynamite drop in, Nate. Can't wait to call potentially 3 soccer games with you this weekend. But they are the division winners of the Northeast Conference American Premier Division. That's a mouthful. Don't quite understand it, but they had a record of 9 wins, 2 draws, and 0 losses. So also another undefeated team. And they've been on a rampage of the playoffs, winning both of their games by the score line of 4-1 and 4-0. So giving up 1 goal and scoring 8 in the playoffs is pretty impressive. Not quite sure who they played. Potentially they weren't that good, but regardless, you still got to score the goals. So going 8 versus 1 is pretty great to get into that final 8. The match we played on July 25th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in Detroit, Michigan, on the campus of beautiful Oakland University. Streaming and ticket info, I thought was going to be sorted out, or was getting sorted out. It's actually been put out on social platforms. So head on over to at NPSL City SC on Twitter, and I believe you can find that info there if you want to get tickets or you want to watch the live stream. And let's go, boys.
Yeah, let's do this.
When I was thinking about this as I was writing the notes today for the show, and I was like, when we polled the former U23 players at the end of the season, like we do every year, we do a player survey, and we ask them, like what can we do? What can we do better? What'd you like? What'd you dislike? That kind of stuff. So we can obviously, like, the players are the backbone of what we do, right? It's not myself, Dan, Adam, Sarah, whoever it might be, any of the coaches. It's truly the players, because if we don't have them, we don't have a team. Or teams. And when they said, like, we want to compete, we're ready to compete with the talent we have to compete in a league and win trophies. And in the first year of this program that we're in the first year of this, of putting them in a league that they asked for, they delivered, man, a conference title, a conference playoff title. And now they're one of 8 teams out of the 10,000 in the UPSL still left playing. It's so awesome.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like the UPSL is so big and hard to wrap your brain around, but to be top 8 at this point and potential to go top 4, top 2, top 1 in your first year, I mean, that's a testament to what Minneapolis City is doing. So very excited to see how they show up in this game on Sunday. Definitely concerned about the size issue. If size remains an issue for this team, hopefully they're able to work their way around it and possess and play Minneapolis City's game and continue to succeed.
Kudos to you, Nate, for not dropping a size matters joke in there as you were talking.
Oh no, I'm being serious here, John.
Well, the hits keep on coming, friends. The NPSL national playoffs are here.
Yes.
And it's that time of the year when I mentioned it before. Clubs, players, supporters, we're all frantically trying to make our arrangements to see our favorite side compete in the end of the year tournament. And the NPSL does not make it easy, but it's a quick turnaround. You got to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So with City making its second consecutive trip to the regionals, this time taking with them the top spot in the country from a statistics standpoint from the regular season, the best of the Midwest took to the play-in game action this past week to see who would be facing number one. Oh, thank you. Looked to see who would be facing number 1 seed Minneapolis City or number 2 seed Milwaukee Torrent. In the first game, it was perennial playoff contenders and 2019 regional champions Cleveland SC, the undefeated winners of the Rust Belt Conference, which I think is the best name of any conference in the NPSL. They're taking on second place division foes Pittsburgh Hotspurs, which we'll hear a little bit more when we have Fletcher on in a little bit here about each of these teams. But this game was about as one-sided as a soccer game can get. Yeah. Seeing the home side Cleveland take an early 2-goal lead in the first half and adding 2 more in the second half to book their ticket to Edor Nelson Field this weekend into the regional Final Four. I will say, however, though, that Cleveland, I mean, they're the real deal. They're a very good team. They have the ageless wonder striker Vinny Bell. We'll find out in a little bit. No one knows how old he is. I think he's 50. Who knows? But the guy still scores goals. All-time leading goal scorer in the history of the league. But Nate, they tire very quickly.
You think so?
Very quickly. Even essentially the Pittsburgh team that they played looked like they didn't even want to play. Like they didn't even want to be there. And they were still putting enough pressure that there were some opportunities, some really good defensive plays from a couple of the backline guys for Cleveland and their goalkeeper that stepped up and kept Pittsburgh off the score sheet. But I think against maybe a deeper, more talented team that they haven't seen before, seeing that they're in the same conference as Pittsburgh, I think they might run into some troubles, but we'll talk about it later. So anyways, Cleveland will take their talents to Minneapolis. Little LeBron joke in there, and face the Milwaukee Torrent in the first regional semifinal this Friday at 4 p.m. at Edor Nelson Field. Ticket information's all over social channels. You can get a weekend pass, which I suggest you do, or you can buy tickets. I believe it's $12 online before and $15 at the gate. In the second game, the one we really care about, Duluth FC, our conference foes, took on second place out of the Great Lakes Division, Carpathia. And this one was for sure the one to watch on the night, Nate. It had all the things: back and forth action, multiple goals. There was a head injury. The guy got like the rugby wrap around his head to stop the bleeding. Came back on. There were penalty kicks. The patented Duluth defensive breakdown. It had it all, friend. and after going 2-up on the back of goals by Captain Jack Sterling and NPSL Golden Boot winner Sidney Warden, who, by the way, could not have any faster put out his highlight reel as he got on the first thing smoking out of Duluth about on social media. Like, literally, it was like the next morning. Here's my highlight tape. I'm getting out of here. But Duluth looked like they were on easy street, man. And then the second half happened, and Carpathia who looked like they were out of gas before the halftime, just flipped the script, stayed to their plan, and scored 2 goals of their own, both on the back of forward Owen Smith in the second frame, and ultimately winning on 5-4 on penalty kicks. So now they have to quickly turn around and come right back to Minnesota from Michigan twice in 1 week, which that fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean, of all the teams that you hope owns a bus,
right? I don't. They don't.
They don't. I watched the first half of the game, and then I watched the last, 15 minutes plus PKs, and because I just couldn't stand the stream. But in that first half, John, I felt like either team could have gone up really quickly. Like Duluth had a number of chances where it looked like Carpathia was totally unorganized.
They had 17 corner kicks, Nate.
Yes, and they were just doing. And here I am thinking, like, corner after corner after corner, like, oh, this is how Duluth scores. Like, they are going to score so many goals in this game. No, and then Carpathia had Duluth confused on a couple of occasions where there was this kid tried a bike when he was like, all you got to do is just chest the ball into the net, and he
let it hit your face.
Oh, and he goes for a bike that just goes sailing over the crossbar that would have given them the lead with about 10 minutes, only 10 minutes off the clock. Like, it was a really sloppy first half until Duluth started scoring, and then I thought, oh, Duluth got their shit together. They put it away, turned the game off, turned it back on, and I had to go back and figure out where those goals came from out of Carpathia. And then the PK situation was, you hate to see it. You hate to see games go to PK unless they end with dogs on the field.
There's a dog on the field.
But in both cases this week, I've actually loved it because Duluth misses their first shot, but then and I think the Duluth keeper or the Carpathia keeper saved another for that to be the end. Carpathia kid went for the Panenka, which was insane. It
almost pushed it wide, as we found out.
It's just like totally nuts how these penalties unfolded, and it sucks for Duluth to lose, but it's actually awesome for us because we were talking about how, like, the last thing we want is to play a team we've already seen twice and that we play constantly. Like, let's get some variety into these playoffs and have some excitement. I mean, that's what happened with City 2 versus Iowa. Like, we've never seen any of those guys, and it made for an amazing game. You got to assume
so fun.
The next games will be just as great.
Well, the last thing I'll note before we close out for tonight is I was talking to some people outside of the city halls about that game, and I say this with no disrespect. I think a lot of the downfall of Duluth this year, there are few blips in the radar. that were covered up by the fact that Sidney Warden scored all those goals was, I think, young coaching mistakes from Sean Morgan.
Mhm.
It's not easy to just step across the end line and all of a sudden be able to tactically figure things out when you're in charge of everything. And I
Yeah.
think that in this game, there was some glaring tactical switches that really should have happened, that would have stopped the bleeding for Duluth. When after that first goal went in, I was like, oh, I would just change these 5 things. I'm not saying I'm like the end all be all for tactical soccer, but I could see it. It was like, you might want to make an adjustment here or there. And we saw it when we beat them 6-1, when they went down, when Aiden Hill got his red card. They made no changes tactically. They just shifted a different player, into the midfield from the front line, and we'll just figure out if this works. Well, it didn't work. And I think that in this game, it was the same scenario. Something could have changed, not just bringing on new personnel, which they didn't make a lot of subs, if you noticed, but some adjustments to how to close the holes in the leaky the bucket. Right? They just didn't do that, and that's what happens. And I think it's something that I think if Sean Morgan returns, I think he'll figure out. But it happens to every coach at higher level soccer when it's their first season and they're trying to figure out how it all works. So I think that was it wasn't the only reason for their demise in that game, but I think it was a pretty big one.
Yeah, a lot to put together, especially when it comes to talent from all over the world, really. And what those victories mean, of course, is that we are hosting the NPSL Midwest Regional Playoffs, which is pretty exciting. Because Milwaukee won, because even though Carpathia won and probably voted to go to Cleveland, I bet Milwaukee voted to come to Minneapolis, and the tiebreaker, Minneapolis and Milwaukee versus Carpathia and Cleveland, came down to record, basically. And since we had the best record, best goals for, all that stuff, we got the tiebreaker. So here they come. There are 3 teams coming to town, as I mentioned: the Milwaukee Torrent, Carpathia FC, and Cleveland. And we've got a special guest to help us pull back the curtain on 3 teams we've never seen before.
So yeah, here to help us plan our weekend and give us the insider info on those teams is Fletcher Sharp. Fletcher has joined us a number of times over the years. He is the all-knowing soccer Nostradamus of the Great Lakes region. Fletcher, welcome back to the show, man. What's new in Detroit?
I wouldn't say that anymore. I think that's kind of passed me by, but I mean, it's interesting just to see the new faces, especially in the NPSL Midwest. I know with Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Grand Rapids leaving. I almost didn't really even have a reason to look at the NPSL in Michigan. Then Carpathia decided to join the NPSL Midwest. And honestly, just first season expectations, I figured they might struggle a little bit. I did an interview with their owner, and he's like, we're just happy to be here and have some fun. And I'm like, that's not the mindset you want to have going into a season. People are going to beat your face. But they got it through and made the playoffs. So, what do I know?
So before we talk NPSL, let's talk just a little UPSL, because Minneapolis City 2 has a playoff game right in their backyard, as we know, at Oakland University.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the soccer in the Great Lakes area, do you follow the UPSL? Or is this kind of just your entry point game into the UPSL?
So I used to follow it a little bit more. That's actually where Carpathia came from. But I kind of stopped a bit as just the Michigan teams kind of waned. Michigan's really weird with like leagues where it's like we'll have a bunch of teams in one league and we'll just have like none. And because like I get paid to follow the teams, when they leave, like then I have to leave. I might keep an eye towards it just to look, because the UPSL is like really, it's interesting from the standpoint of like there's always a mass like entrance and like a bit of a like exodus in the same way, but it's always like, hey, guess what? We got a team in Utah City. We have a team in Iowa. We have a team in Idaho, and they're in the same division. So watch them play. And it's like, okay, don't know how that's going to work, but They have the women in Hawaii to play a team in Oregon. Like, how is that going to work every week? But okay, whatever. I'm not in charge. I'll just watch. So
it's an ever shifting world out there, I guess. Even and that continues. Like in the last couple of weeks. Like Lansing is done. Is that the news?
Lansing United has folded entirely, and it's honestly really sad because when they came on the scene, they were really good, like really, really good. Then they dropped to being like at least always competitive. Then their president decided that he wanted to become a professional team person without telling anybody really until like the last minute. Pulled the rug out from most of the Lansing United men's fans and made Lansing Ignite. Lansing Ignite had an owner or a president who's like, cool, we can do this. Oh, wait, to own a soccer team actually costs like money, and I'm going to lose money the first year. I don't like this. Fold. We're done. Fold. Don't like it. So those players were destitute. The women's team was still around because like they were still pretty good. But with COVID happening last year, they did not. Almost every team in Michigan lost money, save for Detroit City FC, and that's because they were like, we need help, and people are like, I'll give you money. But everyone else was like, we need help, and people were like, I don't know your brand, so no. So yeah, Lansing United, the women's team played their last season. Didn't have a great season. They decided that they did not want to continue going forward anymore. So
that's too bad. John, isn't that one of the teams that we played that we called in the lower league E Cup?
No, that was Lansing Commons.
Oh, Lansing Commons, wrong Lansing. Okay,
yeah,
at least there's
Lansing Common is the people who are very upset that the president pulled the rug out from them for Lansing United men. Decided that we're going to make our own team and have the fans run it. So
that's cool. Okay, then I had I'm glad there's still some soccer out there in Lansing because those guys were really cool, and I did not know that there were multiple teams, so that feels good.
The more you know, Nate.
The more you know. So game one of these playoffs, Fletcher, for the NPSL Midwest region is going to kick off Friday at 4 p.m. John and I will be on the call, and we will be treated to Milwaukee versus Cleveland, two teams that admittedly we have not seen at all this year. The Torrent are 9-1-0 on the season with 29 goals for, which is pretty decent over 10 games. Both of these teams have only played 10 games on the season. They have 12 goals against. Cleveland, 8 wins, no losses, but 2 draws, which means they have less points than both us and Milwaukee on the season. They've scored 25, 9 goals against in 10 games. So fairly similar. I want to start talking about Cleveland. A draw to start the season, and then they remained undefeated all the rest of the way. And they only dropped any more points in their final game of the regular season to the Erie Commodores. For a second, it looked like potentially Cleveland would have been the number one team in the country until
I had some voodoo out for that game.
So that's pretty crazy. Fletch, you might know the knock on us is that our record, the knock on Minneapolis City, is that our record is a reflection of what people could consider a weak conference. We don't believe that's the case. Can the same be said about Cleveland with their conference?
A little bit yes and no. It's kind of the thing where you have one really, really good team that's like put together to play against everybody else, but the rest of the division doesn't. So it looks worse than it actually is. Cleveland's kind of like that. They have a really solid core. So for those who don't know, Cleveland SC began as AFC Cleveland, the 2016 defending champions. Right after they won the champion in the NPSL, the team just folded entirely. The ownership was like, hey, we don't know what to do next. So, yikes.
See ya.
Players were like, I want to keep playing. So they made their own Cleveland SC. And yeah, that's why they are the way they are now. As I said, they're a very tight-knit group, led by Thomas Beck, very, very quick midfielder, very quick to put his nose into a confrontation. The last game I watched him play against Detroit City FC, he purposely got a red card to fire his team up. I guess not really thinking to the fact that if they won, he couldn't play in the next game, which they did, and he didn't, and they got smoked. They also have their wingback, Chris Sheveko, golden locks, very quick to the ball, good defender, probably a bit better going forward than he is in defending. And of course, as you guys know, I'm about to mention him because you can't mention Cleveland without mentioning this guy. The ageless Vinny Bell, who I don't know when he's gonna retire. But his game is literally go up top, be big, get the ball, take one touch and put it towards the net. And you'd think it would stop, but he scored 7 goals this season, so clearly it's not going to stop anytime soon because people can't stop him from at least scoring 5 goals. So if you're watching Cleveland, you're trying to wonder how they're going to play. They'll get in your face. They'll try to possess the ball as much as they can. They're going to try to pop it up to Vinny because it's when in doubt, get it to Vinny, let him do something, and then collect the rebounds.
Do you have any idea how old he actually is?
No, and when I've asked, he just laughed. So apologies. So I don't know. I've been hey, because last time I spoke to you guys about him, someone heard about it and mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, I just wanted to know, how you've been playing for a while. I heard about you playing at Case Western, Cleveland AFC, SC Cleveland. I'm like, that's how old are you? And he just chuckled, and I was like, all right, that's not an answer, but okay. I really you're not going to tell me. So,
I mean, yeah, that was a couple years ago when we were gearing up to go to Detroit, and I think he was a Golden Boot contender that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, for the Midwest.
Yeah.
Be remiss if I don't mention. I'm not one to say negative things about players, but one player for Cleveland, Colton Lung, look out for him. He's literally, if pre-work was a person, I've never seen him not with a scowl or screaming on his face. He wears a headband. He looks like he should be playing lacrosse instead of soccer, but he has a decent touch for a center back. But he will truck you. He will see the ball and say, "I don't care about that. I want your leg." So if
did you say his last name is Lung?
Yes.
Yes. Black Lung?
It's Lueng.
Okay.
But yeah, just number 19, just if you see him running full speed, you just better hope that it's the ball and it's not a person, because he's definitely going to and then be like,
God.
Dude, what's the card for? It's you broke his leg. I don't know what's wrong with you.
One name I didn't see on the roster was Mighty Mouse. Is he done?
He went back to the Rochester Lancers. So for those who don't know, Antonio Manfoot, Tonchito, the Mighty Mouse, he is actually a member of the U.S. national futsal team.
Cool.
He has 11 caps, and he played mainly for the Rochester Lancers indoor team, but he came back to Cleveland because he's from Independence, Ohio. And he decided to stay in Rochester because he's well, I'm playing here for money. Might as well just stay here and play. And I think, honestly, I'm happy because I don't want to see him, because while he's a great player, he's one of those people who's hey, you push me, I'll step on your foot. And I'm not, I don't like people like that. It's not, I know the game's supposed to be gritty. That's not gritty to me. That's just being dirty. But
sure.
I thought Cleveland might miss him. They clearly didn't. But Rochester got a great player, but he missed having Vinny Bell up top, because a lot of his plays that worked, they hoofed it up there to Vinny, who held the ball and gave it to somebody else. And Rochester, while they have a great keeper, they do not have the attacking prowess that Cleveland does.
Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit about Cleveland's defense. They're giving up one goal against roughly a game, and that puts them right up there with ourselves and Christos in the top defensive squads in the nation. Talk a little bit maybe more about what they have back there from maybe a goalkeeping perspective.
Last time I checked, double check again. Their goalkeeper, young guy, long arms, not the best hands, but he will get in the way of the ball. Very, very good shot stopper, but not with his hands. If it goes to PKs, they will probably sub goalies when they get a chance to. Their backup goalie is a better PK stopper than the one they have in there, which I understand, but it's still kind of weird to me. But if it works, hey, it works, whatever. But
sometimes it works.
The keeper they have who starts, younger guy, great shot stopper. Just if you kick it to his hands, he's going to try to kick it. He's going to try not to use his hands to stop the ball, because that's just the way he is.
Interesting.
Sure.
That's kind of your job back there, is to use your hands. But oh well, whatever. They're doing their job. So
I guess. So Cleveland's opponent is going to be Milwaukee Torrent. and they experienced their own late season stumble to fall out of undefeated form. They lost to none other than Carpathia FC 0-4 over 4th of July weekend. Fletcher, what was responsible for that form and that high level of play? And what do we know about Milwaukee beyond, I guess, their oversensitivity to Animal House quotes?
The Torrents are very kind of like Cleveland, but a little bit different. They're a very physical, in-your-face team as well. They have an owner who's basically like, I'm trying to think of some of the crazier owners, but he's someone who, if he does not like something, he will come down to the sideline and let the refs know he does not like something. He's been suspended at least twice that I've known him. But they have a team that's filled with like, we want the ball. We're going to take the ball. If we don't take the ball, we're going to take your ankles. So going to play against a team like Carpathia, if you do that, they will just go right around you. It's like, cool, you're going to go in hard. We'll just take one step to the side and play it to somebody else. We'll play it to somebody else, and we'll just shoot on you. And if Milwaukee gets down a little bit, they get more flustered than they do. Like, some teams get down, they're like, they focus. Milwaukee gets down, it's like, well, time to start breaking ankles. Like, that's it. So I'm not terribly surprised that Carpathia put 4 on them.
That's interesting because that kind of explains a couple of my next questions. The first thing I noticed when I was paging through Milwaukee's score sheets was that the goals don't really – there are a lot of goals that are coming from 3 guys. Nobody really that consistently beyond Alexander Phelan, who has 6, this guy Tony Dollenfeld with 5, Malik Manana with 5. Any idea what Cleveland can expect from the Torrents attack? Because those guys don't seem to play together. They kind of, when one is scoring, the other isn't.
Yeah. Philian played is German, from Germany, from a few Bundesliga youth teams. Scored 2 goals against them when they played against Chicago House, which is nice because Chicago House is a professional team.
Yeah.
Dolefeld played in Spain, like the lower levels of Spain, but like it's enough to where if you Google the team he played for, it will show up somewhere.
They've got a Wikipedia.
Yeah. Malik Manana, I don't have too much on him. But like you said, they all don't really play together. So typically it's, if you're a defender, that's great. It's like, well, if this guy's cooking, put someone over there, but focus on him. Like, make him pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball. And it kind of reminds me a little bit. I hate to bring his name back up like this because, I actually like to. Kind of reminded me how the Dakota Fusion used Jay Johnson a lot, where it's like, hey, you save us. If you don't save us, we just lose. They have 3 of those where it's like, one of you save us. If you don't save us, we just won't score goals.
Yeah.
And, I'll just let you. I'll let you do whatever, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, give me the ball, and then I will hold on to it for the next 20 minutes. So if you're a defender, you love it, and Cleveland's disciplined enough to where, like, they won't fall asleep to that. They'll see, okay, this guy's time, this guy's time, this guy's time, whatever. Have what you want to have. We'll let you take the shots you want to take, and we'll make you be selfish, try to beat 2 people, and when it doesn't work, we'll counterattack you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you also brought up kind of how they act in an adverse situation. Just start grinding it out, start attacking, start going for ankles, things like that. Because my brief score sheet analysis tells me that Milwaukee looks like a second half team. Like 16 of their 29 goals on the season were all in the second half, and of all of the rest of them, whatever the 13 first half goals, 7 of those were really in 3 games against bottom-dwelling Indiana, where they just came out of the gate and stomped the crap out of those guys. So that tells me that, like, against good or average competition, they either grind out wins, which seems to be what you're saying, with fitness or with physicality.
Whatever.
And we know what that's like. Or they don't really turn it on until later. Is it kind of one or the other? Am I maybe overthinking it?
Exactly that. Like, it's kind of like, I hate using analogies, but like that's all I'm really good for. It's kind of like you watch a boxer try to like wait till late in the match, try to take over, and you notice like if he starts landing hits later, it's like, all right, he's filled with confidence. But if he starts missing, he's like, well, I guess I gotta go for a low blow or something. Like I gotta do something because I can't throw this guy off. That's kind of them, where it's like if we can grind it out and like see people get tired we'll be good. But if it doesn't work out, I guess I got to step on this guy's foot and hope that it's okay. Like I have to do something to throw this person off.
Sure.
And again, when you have an owner kind of like theirs who's like, I'm going to come down and scream at you, it influences the team to like act in that way. So
yeah, you're almost incentivized to play like garbage.
It
sounds pretty familiar to someone we play against twice a season.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking a can of like soda and shaking it up and being like, all right, now open it and then catch every drop in like that's just not going to happen. It's just not
sure.
Yeah, chaotic energy. Fun to watch if you're impartial, but like if you care, like it's you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, based on kind of what you know about these two teams, is there anything that you're really excited to see in this first matchup on Friday?
Honestly, the chaos. I want to see how Milwaukee reacts to pressure against a team that's actually good. I want to see how Cleveland reacts to their game plan of getting the ball to Vinny Bell, see how they react to them not all the way working. Because Milwaukee's defense is good enough. It's not great, but good enough to disrupt that. And I want to see if Cleveland actually has like other weapons besides just giving it to Vinny and letting him control. I want to see if Thomas Beck actually lives up to like his role as like the, I guess, de facto second scorer from the wing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if Cleveland's defense is actually for real. Typically, like some people might want to just look at just when you see a team that's really great mowing through their competition, when they play against someone who's not in their league, how do they react to it? Were they winning games because they were just better, or were they winning games because they memorized their opponent's defense? It's like they know this guy who plays center back, played against him 4 times in 2 years. He likes to step left instead of stepping right. Do they know that, or is it like they actually just beat this guy because it's more skill? So I'm interested to see how these styles kind of clash.
Sounds like you don't have a ton of respect for Milwaukee's play style. So I think I know the answer, but could you give us your prediction in this game?
Cleveland 3-1.
All right.
I think what's going to happen is it's kind of the way we've said. I think Milwaukee's going to get in there Cleveland's face. Cleveland's not going to stand for it. And eventually Milwaukee's going to like buckle, and Cleveland's going to get one probably in the 60th, 70th, make it 2-1, one late when the game's like out of control.
maybe up a guy because of some antics potentially.
If not, they'll be up a guy after the goal goes in.
Sounds good. Well, we have a second game, one that folks who regularly listen to this show are more concerned about, and that's game 2, Minneapolis City taking on Carpathia. We talked briefly about them before. Carpathia 6-2-2 on the season. First season in existence in the NPSL, scored 27 goals, gave up 13. Seems like an unlucky record for a team that can score and defend, at least statistically, similar to the Milwaukee Torrent. Carpathia, as a team, Fletcher, in your backyard, we did touch on them briefly, but they came back from a 2-goal deficit to beat Duluth this past week. What's the scoop on them in more detail? Is it a Cinderella story? Did they just kind of grit out some luck? Are they going to be able to handle 2 trips to Minnesota in 1 week?
I think so. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, I was worried. Again, I mentioned I did a piece for the NPSL where I went to go talk to their people. NPSL was really like, hey, we have a new team in Michigan. Go talk to them. I'm like, who is it? It's a Carpathia. I'm like, I know them.
They've been around since the 50s.
I know them. Like, they've been in the neighborhood. I didn't know they were joining the NPSL, but sure. Their owner, nice guy. Coach, nice guy. But they just seemed like we're just happy to like be here and like have a nice community-oriented type of team and work through this. And I'm like, this is a nice attitude for a story. It's just horrible for going into a season because teams will punch you in the face. Like, this isn't like it's all fun and games until like the first game. Mm-hmm. Then I saw that they tied against FC Indiana, and then I got worried. I was like, oh no. Oh no. You're not supposed to do that.
No, they're like the lacrosse heiress of their I think two draws on the season for FC Indiana was about as good as it got.
Yeah, no, it's like, and I got in trouble for this when I wrote for the NPSL, so I can say it now for sure because I'm not contracted by them. But I asked my editor for them, like, hey, can I get this? Can I get the full statistical like history between Eris and FC Indiana? And he's like, why? Like, I want to because it's really weird that the Midwest has some of the best teams and then two of the historically worst teams in the history. And he's like, I'm not going to give it to you because that seems like it's really rude. I'm like, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to know for myself because, like, what the heck? Like, why do you have two teams that give up an average 80 goals a season? That's not – at some point, you got to be like, hey, man.
Well,
yeah,
because they pay, right?
Yeah, that's essentially it, yes.
Well,
the reason why I think Carpatio will be fine, and I hate to bring up this name just because I do my best to try to disassociate at times, but their team roster is made up of players from Oakland University where they'll be playing. It's also made up of players who formerly played for Detroit City FC. Mm-hmm. So they have the pedigree of players who have played deep postseason runs. Specifically, former captain David Edwardson, who, when Detroit City FC went professional, everyone knew we all loved Dave, but he probably would not be making the professional roster as he does not, at his current age, have like the legs to run against kids who are coming from LA Galaxy or Portland Timbers, etc. Mm-hmm. They also have Jeff J Baby Atkins, who's coming into the wing, really quick, really tricky. At times we'll try a trick instead of just doing the simple go by somebody because he enjoys making people feel bad when he can. But in goals, especially the last game for sure, they were led by New Zealander Owen Smith, who down 2-0 to Duluth, scored 2 goals, specifically 1 goal late, capped it off with a very, very ballsy Paneka during
he did that.
Yeah,
very ballsy.
He almost missed. It almost trickled wide.
Yeah, I saw when he first hit it. I'm like, oh, that's going wide. Like you're a jerk. Like if they lose, everyone on the team gets to punch you at least once because like that's what are you doing? Like why? When I saw the keeper react, I'm like, I guess it went in, but like don't do that. That's you're gonna do Paneka, do it during the game for a PK. Don't do it during like the end of your season. Not. If you score it, yes, you're like the man. You're amazing. But like, if you miss it, we all get to punch you at least once. Everyone. Yep. So, I think they'll be fine. They don't play the most exciting style of ball, but they play a very effective style of ball.
Yeah, I saw that against Duluth.
Yeah, I mean, with God, they've got they're another team with a 5-team conference, right? And they've got. A bunch of their wins were against a 2-win team in that Panathinaikos Chicago team, and they beat Indiana 3 times, or they played Indiana 3 times. So, like, you would think that they might not have been ready for Duluth level competition, and yet here we are. Hopefully for their sake, they can keep it up against us.
Duluth totally shit the bed, though. So there's that.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, that's. All I know about Duluth is like, hey, we're going to do stuff in the postseason. And it's like, well, it's playoffs. Where are you? It's like, we're at home. It's like, okay.
Great.
You didn't do it. So,
All those emo pictures, now they're put to good use. Fletch, Minneapolis City, I don't know if you caught this. We were surprised this year by Joy of the People team, who seemed to have been waiting all year for this game. It was led by an emotional performance from a pair of Brown brothers who may have felt a little scorned and probably decided to bring it as hard as possible against us. What does Carpathia have to do on Friday to get the jump on the Crows in the same way that Joy team might have? Do they have the tools to surprise 2 NPSL North teams?
So I have 2 answers to this. Yes, I think they have the tools. No, I don't think they're going to do it. They have to play. I hate to use the same cliches. They have to play stout defense. They have to play the way they normally play, not flashy. Don't dive in on people. Stay to your man. When you get a chance to counterattack, counter, and like stay within who you are. If you're a defensive mid who's like known to make a few passes, make those passes. Don't try to become Ronaldinho in the middle of the field. Like it's not good. You're going to do poorly.
Yep.
I think they have the pieces to do that. I think the problem is, one, travel. Two, honestly, and I don't say this because I'm on you guys' show, but like you guys are a more talented team than they are. So I think eventually you will wear them down. A lot of their stars who've been doing well for them are like playing almost every game they can for them, and that's going to catch up to you typically about now. So yeah, I think they've played together for a while. Some played together at Oakland University. Some played together like a few years before, a few years after. But a lot of Oakland University alums typically still play as a unit when they get a chance to play. They have Spiros Pliakos, who very pacey midfield type of player, can get up and get down for from Detroit Mercy. They have some players who like know what they're doing, but just I don't. Kind of like what you mentioned, they came from a 5-team division where they played against FC Indiana 3 times. Pythonakos, Chicago, who I thought would be doing a lot better, and just didn't. They made waves signing who was that old Liverpool player? Yeah, and he never showed up. So
shocker, real big shocker.
I'm happy they made the playoffs. I didn't see it happening at all. But like when I saw who they might potentially play, I figured they might maybe squeak by Duluth, maybe upset them in some way. But I was like, if they draw Minneapolis, if they draw Milwaukee, it's not going to do good for them, because if they get down, they're not going to let them back up. Milwaukee physically, like literally, might not let them back up, but I think on them, I think it might just be the end of it.
Well, yeah. I think they only brought 16 players to the Duluth game too. So like I mentioned earlier, like having to come to Minneapolis or to Minnesota twice in 1 week, are they going to have the people to, some of the names I think I heard you mention, I don't know if they even played against Duluth.
Yeah. That's I guess that's the magic of the NPSL.
Yeah.
People have day jobs. So if they can't make it, they just can't make it. I know Dave has a pretty serious job. I think he will try to travel. I'm not necessarily sure. If he's not there, I hate to say leadership counts for something. I'm not trying to say it doesn't count at all, but I know if he's not there, they're going to struggle with their structure in the middle. It won't be like totally broken, but like he's like the guy who helps lead the team where they're supposed to go. So if he's not going to be there, I get a little bit worried about how they're going to like keep things in the middle like concise. So
sure.
So last 2 questions before we get you out of here. We really appreciate you joining us. You're our inside guy when it comes to the other next of the woods in the Midwest for the NPSL. But same 2 questions that Nate ended the last matchup with. Anything you're excited for this Crows versus Carpathia matchup, and what are your predictions?
I'm always excited to see teams from Michigan do well. Like just because I'm not like a homer, but like I do like to see teams of like people that I've watched, people I've covered, people I've even played with or against. Yeah, like I don't want them to like lose, but like I want them to like compete, because hey, I can be like, hey, that's my friend such and such, or that's a guy I played against. Like, forget that guy. That's the guy who stepped in my foot in height. Like, but like it's something where I want them to do well. But like I want to see them play against a team that like will actually push them and like they will need to strap up and be prepared for. And I want to see people that I know, like, and some of them I know will do well, some I know won't. But it's just to see how it all shakes out. And like, I guess that's kind of like the beauty of the sport is you can be number 1 team in the country versus like the number 412th team. But like, if they strap up for the day they play and you for some reason are just like, the game's way closer than it should be. And it's just, that's the exciting part of it. But predictions, I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I see maybe 2-0, 2-1. I don't know if the firepower they have and the way that they move the ball is going to be enough to like really matter at this point. Again, attrition, bringing not that many people. I'm sure they might bring more because it's a bit more important game. They know it's solidified. They'll know they'll be there. But like, I worry about their legs. I worry about if they'll be ready to to play given the circumstances. And I know that if you guys are like at least 60-70% of the way you're supposed to be, you guys will be fine. So yeah, I think 2-0, 2-1 Minneapolis City.
Well, love to hear that. Well, Fletcher, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate your yearly appearance on the show. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want the folks to check out that you're doing?
Recently I partnered with 2 Cents FC to like help give them someone to write for and like I guess cover more of the human side of sports. So I guess whenever I get around to writing stuff, which I probably should do really soon because like that's what people give you money to do. You should check out 2 Cents FC and just look at the articles and then point and be like, this guy isn't totally wrong all the time. And then
I heard him make a lot of sense one time.
That's typically how it is. People are like, hey, he made a point once and we're just going to believe him for the rest of his life and hope that it's right. And then when I'm wrong, they're like, this guy's stupid. Never listen to him ever again.
Isn't that how it goes with all sports reporters, though?
I mean, yeah, but like I take mine to heart more because it's like Jim 57, 48, 12, 11 hated my post. And like now I'm sad.
Well, Fletcher's not excited that we can't see each other again like we did 2 years ago in Detroit. But thank you so much for joining us and dropping the knowledge. It's super appreciative for our listeners who don't know a lot about these teams. So I guess until next year.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for having me again.
All right, man. Well, have a good rest of your week and enjoy that UPSL game. Hopefully our boys put on a good show in front of you.
Definitely. If I can get there and get in there, I'll be wearing my long sleeve in support.
Yes. All right. Awesome, man. Well, have a good night, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fletcher.
Yep.
Friends, that is all for this week's show, folks. Thank you again to Fletcher Sharp, and thank you to our show sponsor, footballstadiumprints.com. I don't know what I'm getting into here, but I know it's going to be good. Footballstadiumprints.com. No, I didn't. Footballstadiumprints.com has options featuring amazing prints from some of the greatest stadiums in soccer, including the Nelly, home of the Crows. They come in all sizes from kids to XXL, so you can do like I do and buy a full set to dress up my array of sex dolls and Japanese body pillows. Now, even in the throes of pleasure, I can gaze lovingly at footballstadiumprints.com's amazing artwork of Edor Nelson Field, Old Trafford, and even the Etihad. That gets me real riled up. Oh, shit. What's better, City fans? You can head on over to footballstadiumprints.com and use code CROWS10 to save 10% off your orders. Japanese sex dolls.
No. I was right in the middle. I gotta clean this up.
That's Crows 10, and you receive 10% off of all your orders. And you can rock the home of the Crows and all of the rest of your favorite soccer teams on your shirt, your walls, your mugs, anywhere. Thanks again to our friends at footballstadiumprints.com. Hopefully they don't drop us as a sponsor now. Remember, footballstadiumprints.com may be overseas, but know that all U.S. orders ship right from the U.S. There's no additional international shipping charges. If you purchase anything, please go over to the old Google machine and put in a plug for how happy you are with your purchase. Okay, that was great.
Dude, I literally just spit beer all over myself.
Well, you wrote it. I just read it. I think my favorite line, Nate, was, that gets me real riled up. Oh, God. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that loves to give back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for the young people to play the beautiful game, like through the Future Scholarship Program fundraiser, the GoFundMe to get MC2 to the playoff game. So consider a donation to that or a tax-deductible donation to a truly city-focused organization. The regular season is coming to an end. So there has to be some juice that you want us to squeeze before the playoffs begin. So get some questions in, people, and send us mail. It's easy to do. Hit us up on Twitter at People's Pitch or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, you can hit up the club at MPLS City SC. Complain to Dan. He loves it, especially right now while he's trying to get hosting planned out. Complain to him.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, complain to him. So thanks again for joining us this week. That does it. I'm John. That's Nate. And thanks again to Fletcher Sharp for joining us. Join us at the Nelly this Friday night for playoff action. Let's pack that place. Let's pack that place more than my soggy sex doll. Until next time, you got fun.